Hey guys, welcome back, and Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate, happy/merry that. Happy holidays. Today we're going to be going over Klawf. I've seen it a couple times. It's been getting pretty decent scores. It's been getting pretty decent placements as far as regionals go recently. In Toronto, we had 2 in the top 16, so that just tells me things are going really well with this deck, and I wanted to show it off. We've got Klawf with its unhinged scissors attack for colorless. It does 30, and if this Pokemon is affected by a special condition, it does 160 more damage. Now, granted, we're going to be using the double turbo, so really it's only doing 10 plus 160, so that's 170 overall. But if you're going to be poisoning the opposition, we're now looking at like 180. If we can get the Radiant Hisuian Sneasler, we're looking at 200. If we've got the Binding Mochi, we're now looking at potentially 240, and that's gonna be knocking out a lot of basic EXs and all of the Vs, kind of looking in that area. So that's what we're kind of hoping for. Like I said, we're going to need to have a special condition on Klawf, and just like with the Conch Elder, we're going to be using Brute Bonnet to make that happen. Brute Bonnet, with its Toxic Powder ability, says once per turn, if Ancient Booster Energy is attached to it, you can go ahead and make both active Pokemon poisoned. This is what's going to help us out. This is what's going to make us really start to hit pretty decently hard. We are also running the Terapagos, because Terapagos hits all the numbers we want, and it hits for the same energy cost as Klawf. United Beatdown says colorless, and 30 times each Pokemon on our bench. However, we cannot use this attack if we go second. So, if we're going to go second, we want to be using Klawf, but if we're going first, having a Terapagos isn't so bad. This is going to also hit all of the numbers that you're looking for. You're hitting at 240 if you have a full bench, 220 with the double turbo energy, which is not a problem because 220 hits all of the Ogre-Pons. It hits your Latias, it hits your Pecharunt, it hits your Fezandipiti, it hits all of the easy to kill basic EX and V Pokemon, and that's really quite awesome. We do have the Hisuian Electrode V. Its attack says for free, by the way, so no energy required. It does 100 times each special condition on this Pokemon. This is what we are running for the Charizard / Hydreigon / any of those bigger issue Pokemon that we need to take down. This is what we're running it for. But vanilla, how do we get from 200 to 330? I'll go over that in a second, but it's a little card called Supereffective Glasses. We do have the Latias EX with its Skyliner ability. It says your basic Pokemon in play have no retreat cost. We've got the... We are running the...
Today, Junior?
We are running the Bloodmoon Ursaluna EX with its Season Skill ability. The attack Bloodmoon costs 1 colorless less for each prize card your opponent has taken. The actual attack Bloodmoon says 240, but you can't use it next turn. It's a 5 colorless cost, but hopefully with its ability we'll be hitting for 1, 2, sometimes even free cost. We've got the Oranguru V with its back order ability. Once per turn, if this Pokemon is in the active, we can look for 2 tool cards and put them in our hand. We've got the Lumineon with its Luminous Sign ability. When you play it from hand onto your bench, search your deck for a supporter and put it in your hand. We've got Fezandipiti. Flip the script. If one of your Pokemon were knocked out during your opponent's turn, go ahead and draw 3 cards, but you can't use more than one Flip the Script per turn. We've got Pecharunt EX with its Subjugating Chains. You can move a dark Pokemon from your bench to the active. If you do that, you can poison, or excuse me, you must poison that Pokemon. Squawkabilly with its Squawk and Seize. Ditch your hand on your first turn only. Ditch your hand and draw 6. After that, we've got the Iron Bundle with its Hyper Blow ability. If it's on the bench, you can discard it. Not knock it out, discard it, and you force your opponent's Pokemon to switch, but your
Definitely didn't say that stuff right.
But your opponent gets to choose what that's going to be. Radiant Hisuian Sneasler with its Poison Peak ability. During Pokemon Checkup, put 2 more damage counters on your opponent's active poison Pokemon. So it goes from 1 to now we're hitting 3. That extra 2 damage counters could actually be what kills a Pokemon during Pokemon Checkup, and if that happens, it is not knocked out on our turn, so their Fezandipiti cannot activate. Very, very good. We're also running Pecharunt, Baby Pecharunt as I call it, with its Toxic Subjugation ability. As long as this Pokemon is in the active, put 5 more damage counters on your opponent's active Pokemon, or active poison Pokemon, during Pokemon Checkup. So now, between those 2 cards, we've gone from 3 damage counters to now 8 damage counters. We're going to be knocking out little stage 1s on our first turn. We're going to be knocking out, potentially knocking out bigger Pokemon like Charizard, stuff like that. And we're only going to give up the 1 prize. We also, lastly, are running Genesect with its Ace Nullifier ability. This Pokemon has any tool cards attached to it. Your opponent cannot play A-Spec cards from their hand. It's a little bit of disruption, but boy is it going to help, because it turns off stuff like Prime Catcher. It turns off stuff like Scramble Switch. It turns off stuff like Hyperblow, or not Hyperblower, but the Cyclone Scoop Up. It's going to stop them from playing A-Spec cards, to include other cards like the Nullification Zone. I think that's, or Neutralization Zone is what it is. So it's going to help out. We've got a pretty large, although not many, but we've got a large array of supporter cards. We're running Arven, Boss, Research, Carmine, Iono, and Colress's Tenacity. Arven, search your deck for a tool and item card, put them in your hand. Boss, switch your opponent's bench to the active. We've got Research, ditch your hand, draw 7. Carmine says, if it is your first turn and you are going first, you can play Carmine. Ditch your hand and then draw 5. We've got Iono, both players shuffle hands, put it bottom of the deck, and then draw however many prize cards they have. And Colress Tenacity says, search your deck for a Stadium and an Energy card and put them in your hand. As far as items go, I think it's actually fairly limited, but that's kind of okay. Once we get a couple things out and rolling, we should be fine to keep things kind of active and keep drawing cards. That being said, you also have Arven to go look for cards, you have Professor's Research, you have Iono, things that are going to ditch cards to draw cards, so we have a couple ways of drawing cards. It shouldn't be too bad on our item selection. Now, one thing that we are running as an item that I think we need to look at is the Precious Trolley. It's something I went over in Conkeller. Search your deck for any number of basics and put them onto your bench. This is really decent for, say, a turn 2, you get an Arven, you've got your Terapagos, you've got your Area 0 under depths, and you just put, say, 5 extra Pokemon down, 6 extra Pokemon down, and you're good to go. You've got your whole lineup ready to go, and we're not going to worry about it. Lastly, I want to go over super effective glasses. That's going to be what helps us get the Hisuian Electrode to hit the big numbers on Hydreigon and Charizard. It says, when applying weakness, instead of 2 times, it's 3 times for the Pokemon this is attached to. So even though it's only 100 damage that we're doing because of poison, now we're actually doing 300. The opponent's Charizard is poisoned with Hisuian Sneasler. That's the extra 30. The Charizard dies in between turns because of the poison. Fezandipiti, again, I've said it before, but Fezandipiti doesn't activate, and that is fantastic. That's the deck list. Let's go ahead and get into it. See how we do. Okay, so with this deck, going first, going second, it doesn't truly matter to us. We are a deck that is all basics, so we're not really going to worry about who's hitting for what and doing what we need or what we want. We don't want a Terapagos inactive because it just sits there and we aren't allowed to attack with it. So we'd rather a Klawf. I would rather put the Genesect up here first. That's what I would rather. Mainly because we have the Lumineon. We can go get a couple things started with a lot of what we have here. We can get the Lumineon, get the Terapagos, Area 0, Lumineon for Arven. Arven goes and gets a ton of different stuff. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now. Right now we're looking at a Charmander deck, so that's something to be aware of. We've got a Latias. Okay, let's get this rolling. I would like to get myself the Terapagos started. And I would like to get... You know what? I would like to see... You know what we could do here? I take that back. What we can do is actually get things really set up. Yep. Latias down, Area 0. Let's look at our heavy ball and see what's in it. We don't need Oranguru, although it doesn't hurt us here, so we can grab Oranguru. What we can actually do is Lumineon down. We can actually win this turn. So yes, we will get ourselves the Arven. Arven down for the Precious Trolley. We don't have the Precious Trolley. Okay, never mind. This is going to be a lot harder. This is going to be a lot harder than anticipated. Forest Sealstone and another Nest Ball. A Nest Ball here for the Brute Bonnet. We can Forest Sealstone onto Lumineon here. Star Alchemy for the Ancient Booster. Make sure I don't have it. Yeah, for the Ancient Booster. Okay. For the Ancient Booster. Ancient Booster here. We will use the Toxic Powder. We will retreat into Pecharunt, and we will end our turn. And that is a quick knockout and a quick win for us.
Flawless victory.
And of course it's the Precious Trolley, the one thing I wanted. So, like I said in the last one, we kind of don't want to go first. We kind of want to go second. We've got all basics, so we're not worried about having to evolve or anything like that. We want to potentially get the first attack off with Klawf. That's pretty important. Things can be going our way if we go second. We get the first use of our... We get the first use of a...
We're waiting.
We get the first use of a supporter. We potentially get a bunch of things going for us, and it's kind of important that we do it the right way. Okay, so this isn't terrible, actually. Okay, so if they can't get their Fezandipiti down, there's a possibility that we can get things really moving for us, especially with this double turbo. Arven, and that's also weak to fighting, so that's really kind of nice. So that's something to note. Pidgey and Slack. Okay, so we're running against the Slacking. We ran this not too long ago. I think it's kind of fun. So we'll see what we get here. Good to know, though, all of his Pokemon are weak to fighting. It's also, now that we know that they're running Slacking, we've already had experience with it from 2 weeks ago, so we can potentially be doing some shenanigans and not letting them attack. Okay, we've got the Klawf. This is actually quite decent. Let's go ahead and get the Arven. I want to get the Precious Trolley, and I want to get an Ancient Booster Energy here. Precious Trolley allows us to get the Brute Bonnet, allows us to get the Terapagos, allows us to get Squawk here, and I would like to potentially get... we don't have any more Klawf. That's actually really good to know here. We do have to run some things, so let's go ahead and let's get the Sneasler down. A little extra damage never hurt anybody. And we'll drop that there. Ancient Booster Energy here. We can then go ahead and retreat into Klawf. Yeah, and we'll go ahead and Squawk and Seize here. Get an extra 6. Pecharunt down, that's always really nice. Go and get our other Klawf here. I think that's totally fine. We want Klawf for the backup attacker. Let's go ahead and Poison. And we can go ahead and unhinge Scissors and knock out this Fezandipiti.
You are terminated.
Let's get those two, see what we get out of this. Another double turbo and a 4 Sealstone, which is going to be pretty decent for us. We do have the boss. If this Klawf does not go down, we will automatically pull up this Rotom and knock it out. Counter gain down. I think that's smart. Arven, 4 Sealstone and Rare Candy. 4 Sealstone will go and get the Slacking. Yep. Does he have the Boomerang, though, is the question. Is a Metal Energy. Okay, that's totally okay. We're not going to worry about that. We do get this knockout, though, so that's pretty important to note. Let's see. Counter Catcher brings up Terapagos, would be my guess. Yep. And we're totally okay with that. Does not bother us at all. The smarter play would have been to bring up the Brute Bonnet, because it takes so much more for us to get the Brute Bonnet than it does anything else. Granted, he does not know that we have the Night Stretcher in our hand, so we would have been able to Brute Bonnet, Arven, knockout. So there's that, but I think this is okay. The Terapagos is letting him attack, the Latias is letting him attack, the Squawkabilly is letting him attack, things like that. Does have the Pidgeot, so that is something to know. Although this Slacking will be knocked out next turn, so we're not going to worry about it. I think the correct option is to Arven here for... let's see. For... probably for Nest Ball to get the Oranguru would be my guess. Great Swing does a little bit of a knockout. We're not going to worry too much about that. 0 Underdepths. We have to get rid of things. We will be getting rid of our Pecharunt and our Squawk. We're totally okay with that. Let's go ahead and throw up the Klawf. Okay. What do we need here? We need to attach this here. Let's Nest Ball here for the other Brute Bonnet. Let's Arven so that we can get ourselves another Energy Capsule, and let's see. Or should we get ourselves the Binding Mochi? No, I think we need to get the Energy Capsule down. Item-wise, we'll go ahead and get another Nest Ball. I think that's fine. Yeah, I think that's fine. We'll get the Nest Ball. Ancient Booster, now we're really not worried about it. There's nothing he can really do. Toxic Powder, we should be doing 340, which is plenty here. We'll go ahead and Unhinged Scissors and take the knockout.
Yippee-ki-yay,
Another 2, we'll take 1 and 2 this time, and we get... Okay, yeah, we're going to be totally okay. The correct answer here would be Pidgeot, because he has free retreat. That would be the correct answer. But we'll see what happens. He might have gone inactive. Okay, brings up the Pidgeot. The correct... Now, if he doesn't get rid of our hand, which he very easily could, if he does not get rid of our hand, we need to get the boss. If he takes out this Klawf, which he can do with Pidgeot, another counter gain into any energy, and he does take out this Klawf. So that's something to note. But if he does not get rid of our hand, we can boss's order up this Rotom and take the win. Although I think a Night... Oh no. Nope. Drops a Buddy 2 slacking? Or, excuse me, 2 slack off. Slack off and Pidgey. Okay. No big deal. Crispin down. Crispin will get him 2 energy for the Pidgeot. Okay, a grass energy goes to hand, and the water energy goes to Pidgeot. I think he will be taking out this Klawf. Okay. No big deal. Blustery Wind does kill our Klawf. I don't like that. We'll get rid of our Air Zero. That's fine. We don't need to worry about that. We'll go ahead and put up Klawf. I'm sure he'll concede before, but we'll do the Binding Mochi. Why not? It's there. We'll go ahead and boss's order up the Rotom. We'll go ahead and Toxic Powder. And let's go ahead and take the knockout.
Are you not entertained?
Concedes before we get the actual attack off. No worries. And there you go. Klawf with Terapagos. Honestly, I really like this deck. I brought it up in the intro, but, you know, it's been doing really well in different metas and doing pretty decent in different regionals. So I wanted to showcase it on Meta Monday, and honestly, I like it. Is it for me personally? Probably not. It's going to be hard for me to kind of justify this. It's a lot of Pokemon and not a lot of Pokemon search. It's either it works or it doesn't. That being said, would I take this to a cup or a challenge? I think I would take it to a cup or a challenge just because it's something I can understand and I can get with. But I don't think I would take it to a regional personally. Should it be at regionals? Absolutely. Please, if you're thinking about this, if it's something that you have a lot of practice with, the right pilot can take this very far. Like I said, there were 2 in top 16 at Toronto Regional, so obviously this is a good Pokemon deck. Would I take this to regional? Maybe. I don't think that we'll see this at an IC. I don't know when EUIC is, but in July... or June, excuse me, in June, when NAIC happens, we will have already rotated, and so we're losing all of the V Pokemon that are in this. We're losing Sneasler, we're losing Heavy Balls, and we're losing a lot from this deck. So you won't see this at a international, but while you still can, I think you should play it. If I were to change anything... Personally, if I were to change anything, let me repeat that and make it a little louder for you guys. I would maybe take out the Ursaluna and maybe take out the Genesect for that. That frees up a couple cards for consistency, but you also need Pokemon to help Terapagos attack, so maybe not. But that's just me. I would probably add one more Colress Tenacity so you can always find your area zeros and your energy. It's kind of important for this deck to attack, but overall, I don't think I would change much. If you would, please like, share, comment, subscribe, and do all the things to help me continue to do this. And continue to highlight decks that I think are really cool or could use a little bit more highlighting. And with that, have fun, stay safe, I love you. Merry Christmas. Bye.